Thank you. I want to talk just a little bit on Lieutenant Finale on the dispatching question that came up. When you call from a cell phone, that goes to the call takers down at the dispatch center. You need to know where you're at, and the same with your landline also. We found out recently with some of the issues that have just recently occurred that if you have a voice over internet or like the Vonage type service, you still need to know where you're at because that could possibly get rerouted to another municipality. The new enhanced 911 second generation system that Cuyahoga County has adopted is able to handle that, but there could be those times when it doesn't go where it needs to go. So for all practical purposes, please, if you call 911, whether from a cell phone or you call from your landline, make sure you know where you're at and you tell that dispatcher where you're at so that the appropriate city can be dispatched. With that being said, if you have any complaints or any issues, please see Interim Chief Pete Nelson or Chief John Minnick and forward those concerns to them. In the recent events that had occurred, we actually did an investigation on some of these incidents, and we found some of the problems that had occurred, and we're working to rectify those. So again, if you call 911, you have an issue, please make it known to the chiefs, and we will make sure that we get it taken care of in the most appropriate manner. Back to emergency preparedness, Frank and I had talked. We're going to restart our emergency preparedness meetings, and that was with mobile park residents, some of the selected individuals who are working with the fire department and the CERT team, and we want to again get back to work on providing as much emergency preparedness for you folks here and getting some of the projects that we were started originally back on track. We looked at the evacuation plans. I discussed briefly at other meetings. We want to work towards, looking at the most efficient way to evacuate this park in the event that we have to go. So we're gonna bring that back to the table. We're going to start developing those plans with the property manager, correct. I'm going to continue looking at and researching. There's some grants out there for early warning systems in the event of storms. There is I believe it's the Innovation Fund. I want to look into that, and we're going to revisit again with the audible sirens. So I don't know if we would be successful, but we're sure going to try. We need to, in conjunction with Olmsted Falls, we had some preliminary discussions, so we want to develop that and see if that's a possibility that we can get for both of our communities. I did talk with the Columbia Park Management. One of the things that we want to do with this unit here is in the event of, in the winter, when it's cold, we can look at it as a warming station. In the summer, a cooling station. It could be a first aid station. There's a number of uses this could be used for. Short-term shelter, reception station. Talking with Columbia Park Management, I'm in discussions right now that maybe we can get the electricians out here to put a hookup outside their panel. In the event of we lose power, we can plug a generator into it and then we'll be able to operate out of this building. So that's one of the projects I recently discussed with them, and hopefully we can get that moving forward. Olmsted CERT, Ann Radney and Ken, I don't think Marjorie's here. These folks live in the park, and they are the representatives of the safety forces in Olmsted Township and Olmsted Falls. We want to point them out because if you have any emergency preparedness issues, please feel free to make contact with them. They are trained to open up shelters, to open up reception stations. They're trained in first aid. They're trained in light search and rescue. They're trained in mass inoculation or point of dispensing. They work under us. But in the event of an emergency, and we can't be there in a timely fashion, these folks over the last 8 years have been trained to a level that they can get the process started and be able to do whatever needs to be done in an efficient manner until we get there. So again, use them as a resource and feel free to call upon them. They're available. They want that known to especially the people in the park. So please feel free to talk to them after the meeting and whatever you need, use them as a resource. Severe weather, usually in April. is when I do my talk, and we're a little behind schedule right now, but we saw recently that there was the potential for some severe weather. So instead of my very long PowerPoint that I've done in the past, I'm just going to do a brief synopsis with some reminders. If you have your watches, your weather watches, whether it's thunderstorm, tornado watches, remember the conditions are right for the potential of damaging storms, winds, or whatever. So you need to be alert, whether it's by television or by radio, of what's going on. The watches mean the conditions are right. If you get a warning, that means it's now time to take action. And we know, as we said in the past, mobile homes are absolutely not safe to be in when there's a warning, whether it's tornado or severe thunderstorm. So you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan right now. If you have to go to get into your car and to drive away from home, drive away from the storm. You can't stay in these homes. They're not structurally stable enough to do that. As a reminder, we had that issue with the German Club a couple of years back. Olmsted Falls and Olmsted Township does not have any structures in our communities that is strong enough to sustain as a storm shelter. So the German Club, we had the incident where some of the people had went over there at like 10 at night. We did open it up, but afterwards we found out, and we want to get back and impress upon you folks here, we can't do that. It's not a safe structure. So again, it's about, if you're going to leave, get in your vehicle and drive away from the emergency, drive away from the storm. If you happen to get caught in your car, I'll ask questions in a second, sir. If you happen to get caught in your car, you can't go anywhere, stay buckled up, and lay down across your seat. That's the best option you have if you're stuck outside. So consider that as you're driving away. But it all depends upon early warning. It's your television, it's your radios. The county has the new Cuyahoga County Ready, which is an emergency notification system. We have forms here for those who don't have computers. If you have computers, you can still take a form, go onto your computer, and go ahead and input your data. Text, phone, email is the three major ways that this Cuyahoga Ready will notify you. We found out with the recent storm this past week that there was a delay in getting the information out. If you got that. I called down to Jeff Harmon from the county yesterday because we wanted to know if it was on the county's part or what. But what's happening is that the database is getting overloaded with all the numbers, and that system can't get out the calls in a timely fashion due to the number of calls. However, text, they're going to re-promote this with text and email. If you don't have a smartphone and you don't have a computer, still go ahead and input your telephone number. It's not an end all. It's just one other form of a notification. So it's not going to give you, as we just found out, maybe not a timely notification. So, but it's there for us at the local level in the event of we have a water main break, we have a local emergency, we have the ability to utilize that and get the information out to you at that time with that system. So again, I encourage you to do it. Please, there's plenty of forms here. Take one. If you need help, we can get it inputted for you if you don't have a computer. I would also encourage you, the weather radios, I looked into a grant program with that. A few years ago, they had a grant program with the school system. There doesn't appear to be anything out there right now. They're about $20. Get them at Walgreens, Walmart, Radio Shack. I encourage you to get one. That's the NOAA weather radio. You set it on, you'll get the alerts. It's going to give you some early warning in the event of severe weather. Also keep abreast of the weekly weather reports. You need to look ahead. The weather people are pretty accurate, but you can look ahead and see. Usually these storms come in, they're rather quick, a day or two. We'll know as it comes along what we could be expecting. So, if you stay abreast of that, we've all been around on this earth for a long enough time. We can look outside, we can look at clouds, we know what's coming down the road. But in this case, I've always said you guys are a high-risk population, living in the manufactured home, so you really need to be on the ball and paying attention so that if you have to go, you can go early enough. On another note, have that emergency kit, whether it's extra medication, maybe some extra clothing, a little cash, something that if you have to leave, maybe stay in a hotel overnight, grab it and go. So it's nice to have that, have a little extra bottle of water. just be prepared. You don't know. If we lost electricity more than a couple hours and it ends in a day or two like the blackout, you're going to need to have some stuff to be able to sustain. So, think about being prepared on that. And again, we'll have plenty of handouts for all the folks here this afternoon, tonight, and we were talking about trying to leave it available whenever you guys are here, but there's all kinds of handouts here on all the stuff, so please feel free to take them home, read them repeatedly, and make sure you're prepared and all that. Some of the upcoming programs that I'm working on with Chief Nelson, we're discussing about working on a home safety check program for all of Olmsted Township. It's in a developmental stage, but we're looking at possibly coming out. If you called us out, we would come out and we would do a home safety check of your home and for you, make recommendations and stuff like that. So it's in the development stages. It's a service we want to offer through the fire department. So stay tuned on that, and as that progresses, we'll definitely push that out to you. Hydrant flushing is starting shortly. There'll be advanced notification to the park management. I believe they get it out on the cable. I don't know what's your newsletter. So you'll have enough time to know. We'll come out, we'll do the hydrant flushing, so once that occurs, make sure you flush and run your water until it's clear. Shouldn't take too long, maybe a couple of days if we're not too busy. They will use a hose for those that have landscape, or depending on where the hydrant's at. We'll hook the hose up and make sure that the hydrant's flushed into the street and there's no damage. So, other than that, anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
How strong a wind force might we be able to sustain in this area?
With mobile homes, they're talking 50 to 60 mile per winds could do some substantial damage. So these thunderstorms, it all depends on the severity of the storm. So again, if we're going to talk about do we wait it out or not, that's your call. It's not like you're in a structure that's going to offer you the protection you would get in a regular home. So yes, ma'am.
A lot of people in the park here, besides myself, do not drive after dark, do not drive highway. How are they supposed to get out?
That's where we had talked about, as much as I didn't want to talk about it. We were looking at the Leave No Senior Behind program, and it's kind of fell to the wayside. So, that's something that I personally would like to see developed, whereas those the people that cannot leave or have an issue, a medical condition, and if they can be identified, we can work on getting that person out of here. Yes, ma'am.
What I question is, I'm one person, I don't drive, but if everybody's going to get Parkway, Columbia Park, Ditch Road is going to be crammed with cars, I think I'd take my chances in my half bathroom with no windows.
That's a personal decision for you, and you got to do what's best for you. I understand. If we knew there was an evacuation here, we would have to work in conjunction with the CERT team and the police department and the fire department, and we'll have expedient evacuations here. But again, not everybody gets the message at the same time, so it's kind of, it's one of those things that you need to be planning ahead of time. If you see severe weather coming, or severe weather coming, make that plan, make those arrangements now. We don't want to get caught if we can't help it.
Yes, I'm always thanking you guys, but my son gets on his cell phone. I don't know where they come from, but he gets all those announcements about the weather. And it's great. I hope other people here in the park would get that.
If you have an iPhone or that type of phone, there is plenty of apps out there, whether it's Channel 3 or Channel 8 or the Weather Channel. They have these apps that give you the alerts. There's a number of different apps and other notifications to give you that early warning. So, you're always going to have the person who doesn't have the computer, doesn't have the phone,
You don't have to have an iPhone for that alert. I signed up for the alert, and I have just a regular dumb phone. And they call.
Okay, good. Okay.
John, over here. You spoke about the CERT people, and I don't know them at all. Could they just stand up?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We have Ann Radney. Cancun.
Thank you very much.
Marjorie is here in the evening.
And Marjorie will be here this afternoon, but Marjorie's one of the three of them who live in the park. And they're able to represent us.
Chief Rice. I think everybody in this room is old enough to remember, with the exception of a couple of our guests, the civil defense program that existed back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. And during that time, there was designated places that you were able to go in the event of some type of a nuclear attack, a bomb or an air raid. And we're speaking about buildings that you've indicated would not be able to withstand a tornado. I don't know how many buildings would be able to withstand a bomb. But that program, I believe, still exists. And there are places that are still designated as safe places by the civil defense. And I'm wondering if that couldn't be resurrected and perhaps take a look at that as places for citizens to go during emergencies of this kind.
I do recall, I am old enough to remember, that the old May Company had the old civil defense sign outside the entranceways there. Whatever it is now, I don't know what store it is, but and I haven't looked lately, but that would be the closest one I know in this area. So, until it is a plan that we want to develop, but again, like I said earlier, we don't really have any structures in Olmsted Township, Olmsted Falls, that we can consider a storm shelter. And you're talking about an average of about 18 minutes from the time of that warning to get out of the way. So, there's timing here, and there's logistics here. So, again, it all depends on each of you as a family or individuals making a plan and being aware, truly.
Is the IX Center still a place for civil defense?
I can't answer that right now. If it was that, I don't know why it wouldn't be. Structurally, as far as I know, it hasn't changed. And Tom says he believes that it still is. So I can't really answer that. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.